¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. Melangerakis, welcome. BPCL. Heat, how's it going? Quad Bennett, Derry Bennett, welcome. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about this. Hi, DT. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Conservatives aren't interested in Hunter Biden. All literally, the Trey Gotti is like, this should never be prosecuted. Who, Hunter Biden? I don't know. It sounds like he was, yeah, I think that's the reason, because the reason why he's being prosecuted is because he did, he, something with, firearms. That's why he's taking that position. They like guns more than they hate Hunter. Yep. Yeah, send it to me, BPCL. Send it to me. Okay. Folks, Hunter's involvement with Ukraine is sketchy considering everything else that is happening there. I mean, he's not even being tried for that, right? Like, he's not even being investigated on that. But, yeah. Folks, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button if you've already done so. If you're on the YouTube, keep liking the stream. Subscribe to the channel. Join us on the Discord, folks. Join us on the Discord. All the corruption should be rooted out. I don't care what team they're on. Yeah. Fair is fair. Consider checking out the merch store, folks. Exclamation mark merch. All right, folks. We got a few things to go through, and we're on a time crunch. Let's do it. All right, what have you got for me, BPCL? What is this? Why is this so small?
Your thought it's about the difference between Trump trying to get a fair trial in New York City and Biden's trying to get a fair trial in Delaware.
Well, you know, Dana, I have this really bad habit, although I'm working on it. I try to be fair. I know there's a very small constituency for that. I think if it had been Donald Jones or Donald Trump or Donald Thomas, we would not have been in New York for the past several weeks.
What? What are you talking about? As a rule, when Elon pushes things on Twitter, I don't watch the video. It's not exactly a bad, it's not a bad standard operating procedure. I don't blame you.
I think if this were Hunter Jones or Hunter Smith, you and I would be talking about something else this morning. So we got to get beyond treating people differently based on their political status or what their last name is. I did gun prosecutions for 6 years. I went after convicted felons. I went after...
What are you talking about? Is someone getting, like, prosecuted differently because of their name? I'm confused.
People who were fugitives from justice. I went after lots of different people who are prohibited from possessing a firearm.
Yeah, and if you lie on your application to obtain said firearm, and it is found out that you lied to obtain said firearm, that's a crime. That's a crime, which is what Hunter Biden is being prosecuted. That is what this man is saying. He's saying Hunter Biden's crime isn't a real crime. Oh my God. How is this guy, like, how did this guy become a prosecutor? Like, he has to know that it's BS, right? He has to know that he's lying. If it's true that he's prosecuted so many gun cases, then he has to know that it's not legal for you to lie on the form when you try to apply for when you fill out the thing for a firearm. You can't do that. And Troy Gowdy checked, and Hunter Biden has more than 7 figures in his bank account, so he's not subject to the same law as the smelly masses. Gotcha. Makes sense.
But I'll bet you there weren't 10 cases prosecuted nationwide of addicts or unlawful drug users who possessed firearms or lied on applications. I bet there weren't a dozen, which makes you wonder, of all the cases you could be pursuing in Delaware, why are you pursuing this one?
Because there's significant evidence to show that. There's literal pictures. There's physical evidence of said substances. There was literally, supposedly, there was evidence of drugs on the holster of the firearm in question. There's communications from Hunter Biden bragging about this or confirming that he did this. I don't know. The gist of this, based on the reliable source that is right-wing comments, is that they only prosecute this alongside big boy crimes. So my point is that the right isn't biting on this, so their narrative is already collapsing in not even a week's time. Yeah, not surprising. Not surprising at all. Good evening. Even if Hunter committed a murder, last time I checked, there wasn't a way to there wasn't a way to sentence a relative. Well, Joe Biden isn't the one that's sentencing Hunter Biden, right? Like he's being he's not being like prosecuted by his dad. Or did I get that wrong? Everyone gets sentenced as a relative. I'm lost. Anyways, Michael Haster, welcome. The Cope train continues, folks. Okay, we've got two videos before we move on.
So today, as we say, this was an attempted judicial and legal assassination. Some of you in the audience remember where you were when you heard the news that they killed.
I think what Blue Brother is trying to say is that this prosecution won't result in President Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. getting sentenced, which is what the Republicans really want. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. They're all wearing the same hat. How embarrassing. No, this is comedy gold, okay? Okay, embrace the cope that is coming, and that is emanating. Embrace the copium that is emanating here. The idea of the Republicans is we can't find anything incriminating on Joe Biden, therefore we got to stick with his son. Yeah, that's true. That's true, but like that's not really working, right? Like, nobody's buying that. Nobody cares. If Hunter Biden is doing some crimes, he's just gonna get prosecuted, and that's it. Like, nobody cares, and I don't think that's a Joe that's a Joe Biden problem. Embrace SNL spoofing this. No one checked ahead of time to see what everyone else was wearing. No, I think that's the point. I think they all decided to wear this in true cult member fashion. They all agreed that they needed to wear the dear leader's hat. But their shirts don't match. It's okay. It's only the lack of it's only the thing here or lack thereof that needs to match. Does that make sense? Which presidential candidate do you support? That's a good question. Just embrace the cringe, BPCL, okay? We don't really support a candidate as much as we oppose one less vigorously. Even if Hunter Biden shot someone, it's still Hunter would go to jail for it, not his father. Correct. And they want to try to make it, a big deal. But it really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I like Trump. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry. I can finally say, I'm sorry you support a convicted felon. Okay. I'm sorry you support a convicted felon.
So today, as we say, this was an attempted judicial and legal assassination.
True.
Some of you in the audience remember where you were when you heard the news that they killed JFK. You remember where you were?
Yeah, same thing, dude. Same thing. Bro, we don't even know if Donald Trump is even going to see the inside of a jail cell. Also, can we take a second to acknowledge just how well Charlie Kirk knows his audience? Does that make sense? Can we take a second to acknowledge just how well Charlie Kirk knows his audience when he's literally talking about the assassination of JFK? That's right, BPCL. He wasn't even born when that happened. Actually, your president has nothing to do with me. Cool story.
And 11. This is an equally as significant day. You will remember the day.
True. Donald Trump, Donald Trump being convicted is the same as the assassination of JFK, the assassination of JFK and 9/11. Same thing.
You remember what you were doing when you heard the news, because it has never happened before in American history. So
I wish Trump was going to jail, but honestly, I lost faith in the U.S. justice system. He'll never see the inside of a jail cell. It's quite possible that may be the case. That this dude just never that Trump just may never have any experience any actual consequences. At least like how Trump is more honest about his genocidal intentions. I don't know. I feel like Trump isn't very honest about a lot of things. I'm also pessimistic, but there is a sliver of hope.
And just on the conviction, you want him to cut off funding for some of the local prosecutors. Is that along the
Oh,
lines?
absolutely. That would be part of it. The state of New York needs to overturn these convictions. It's absurd. They have
Well,
gone
of course,
down.
Johnson can't do anything to force the state to overturn the conviction. So
No, but we do control the budget and we control appropriations. And he really needs.
I like having that sliver of hope because I can get a lot of stuff done before that gets dashed in July. They can't take my progress back. Phone guys need to chill with the hover hands. I'm not very honest about a lot of things. The understatement of the year. One of the main differences between the GOP is who they want to genocide.
Needs to step up and talk to the guys over there and tell them that no, you're not getting money for many things until Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, so the implication, man, no, it should be studied. The amount of copium that is flowing through the entire right wing is something of to be studied later down the road. Here she is insinuating or implying that we should shut down Congress. We should shut down Congress until the state of New York repeals or revokes Trump's guilty verdict.
From New York, you guys need to have a talk and realize the road that they've taken this country down. It's a banana republic. We're no longer a serious government, and country.
But wouldn't the definition of a working of a working system would be where we can actually hold accountable and prosecute former presidents? Because wouldn't it be closer to the idea of a banana republic where we couldn't prosecute former presidents or even current presidents for crimes? So what Marjorie Taylor Greene is basically saying is yeah, we shouldn't prosecute the president. Cosmic Seeking, do you think New York gets an inflow or outflow of federal funding? All blue states, generally speaking, put in more than they take. Right, if anyone was above the law, it wouldn't be a democracy. It may have already been said, but they're literally trying to push that Fauci invented COVID. I just found out this today. No way more than 20,000 people on Earth are still on board with this train. Didn't they have a freaking hearing about this? Didn't they drag him into Congress for this nonsense? I think New York funds much of the rest of the country. I don't know if I would say that. But just as a general rule of thumb, all blue states give more than they take in terms of federal resources and benefits. Yeah, the rest of the world has been arresting corrupt former leaders for centuries. We did this with 4 governors of Illinois in a row.
Countries all over the world are making fun of us now. It's insane. It's absolute insanity. So he needs to use the power that he has.
Yeah, it's true. The rest of the world is making fun of you. Did I miss anybody? Mike Lee has been having a normal one since the verdict dropped, and this is his latest, one of the latest ones he's put out there. Been making fun of America my whole life. Remember when Mike Lee was the leader of the Never Trump and hijacked the 2016 RNC? This man has fallen far and fast. They all do, right? This is where they all end up. I like the bleach bond Butchwadi insult. We can't proceed with business as usual in the Senate when Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, and the Democrats have conspired to imprison Donald Trump, Joe Biden's principal political opponent and current presidential frontrunner. True. Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have indeed conspired to imprison Donald Trump. That's exactly what's happening. In fact, Joe Biden hand-selected the 12 jurors that convicted Donald Trump, including the one Trumper. Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats were the ones that selected. The jury that found him guilty. True. Yeah, all 12 jurors were Hunter Biden wearing different hats. That's exactly what happened. The sad thing is most Republicans listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene and believe what she says. Yeah, because she's like a figurehead in the cult.
I don't believe there was disrespect. There were things that were absolutely taken out of context.
There's video.
Oof. So any opportunity that we get to make fun of to make fun of this far right fascist movement is an opportunity that must be taken, okay? Especially like it's all based on like the massive hypocrisy that these people seriously and unironically believe that they are being truthful about. That's the real punchline underneath all of this, right? The movement of family values, right? The party of family values, the party of Christian family values. Yeah.
Lauren Boebert participated in a televised debate for the new district that she's running in, and it did not go well.
And hopefully, her political career just ends. Welcome to China, my friends. What are you on about? People keep picking on Boebert for this debate. I think she did okay despite not knowing how to talk to adults. New York's GDP is just slightly more than Canada, the world's 10th largest economy. Jesus.
for her, to put it mildly. Her GOP colleagues, as well as the moderator, talked about her poor poll numbers and whether or not she could cost Republicans that seat altogether. Her GOP colleagues attacked her for being ineffective, and we're going to get to all of that, but I'm not going to bury the lead because the Beetlejuice incident came up, and the moderator was not buying any of her bullshit. But what makes this moment even funnier is how it came up. So another Republican that's in this race, who she's running against, Mike Lynch, resigned from leadership because his DUI arrest came up. Now, the moderator had asked him about that, and
Real China will surprise you. As opposed to the fake China, I'm not understanding. Listen, 15-hour account, like, if you have a point, make it. Otherwise, just bye-bye. Family values. We need to protect lives. We need to prohibit abortions, because if we didn't, there wouldn't be enough children left to be shot.
specifically asked him why he chose to hide that fact from his colleagues, and he doesn't really know how to respond, right? He's fumbling over his words, and he tries to get himself out of this corner. Now, guess how he tries to do that? By bringing up Bobo's Beetlejuice incident, which is so funny to me. And guess what? It actually worked, because the moderator then adjusted his attention to her, and that's when she was forced to defend herself, and things went downhill very fast.
There are some wild people in China who believe some wild shit, but they aren't our neighbors and shoving it down our throats. I think that could be said about, like, everyone, right? I mean, case in point.
This happened, at a time that was, this was before even we had theater incidents or anything else that was embarrassing to folks. And so, serving in public life is hard work, and exposing your life to it is, a personal decision, and I chose not to.
That was about the softest reference that he could have made, but do you want to talk about the
Jesus Christ. Oh man, I wonder how long that took to to be workshopped in, because I think there were a few, we could have gotten to the same point with fewer words if you catch my drift.
theater thing?
Sure. So, Kyle, I certainly
Kyle
have
brutal.
owned out.
Welcome, Ponder Monkey. The rest of the world sees it too.
I owned up to my night out in Denver, and I've gone on that public apology tour, and I'm grateful for the mercy and grace that has been shown. But I'm not going to continue.
Oh man, oof.
To live life in shame and be beat up by this. And I would like to go back to my legislative record for just a second.
We're not going to do that. You had plenty of time to answer the question. You chose not to. That's fine. I just want to make sure.
I'll have more time.
And you have
Don't
apologized for the theater incident.
I certainly have.
And I just want to make sure. Did you apologize for the behavior that went on with you and your date and the vaping,
Kyle,
or did you or did you apologize for lying to voters about what you did that night and the disrespect that you showed to service workers that night? What specifically were you apologizing for?
I don't believe there was disrespect. There were things that were absolutely taken out of context.
There's video of your interactions with
Yikes.
service workers. I'm asking,
right,
are you apologizing for the lying to voters,
it's been reported that I flipped someone off, and I did not. So, I mean, I think it's been very mischaracterized. I'm apologizing for you, Kyle Clark, getting footage and releasing that. And people seeing this in a very private moment.
Certainly. It was very important to figure out whether you were telling the truth,
you just had
or
an
whether a
interview
public
recently with
agency was lying about your conduct.
You just
Either
had
way was
an
very
interview with
important
CityCast Denver, and you were saying how disgusting it is.
Yeah, that is the important thing that matters here. Yeah.
We're going to talk about earmarks
someone without
in
their
Congress.
knowledge.
Let's talk about the use of earmarks in Congress.
Oh, man.
Members request.
Damn. First of all, let me just say that moderator had no chill, and good for him. That right there is how you effectively moderate a debate. Now, second of all, I'm just impressed at this point by her defense. Honestly, kudos to her, because I don't think that anybody in the entire country would be bold enough to refer to their public groping as a private moment.
This incredible product dissolves oven grease and stubborn
He just keeps
mold
going
in
and lets her
seconds
keep
without
writhing.
any scrubbing. Take any dirty surface.
See, you weren't in private, Bobo, And that's kind of the problem. But yet you're going with that defense, which is just astonishing to me. And she's doing what she did in public, and she's pretending like her privacy was being violated because it was picked up on security.
Yeah, because what she's trying to do is just deflect. That's what's happening here. Okay. Me too, but I don't get why I'm getting an ad for that. Get this guy to moderate the presidential debates.
Cameras. Excuse me? The audacity of Lauren Boebert. My God. And I love how she's also, at some point, she's trying to, during that clip, she tried to hypocrisy burn the moderator because I guess he previously said that it's wrong to record someone in public without their knowledge. But see, even with the way that you quoted him, he's making an important distinction, right? Most people know that they are being recorded when they are at a public venue. Most stores you walk into have security cameras. Just because you're too stupid to know that a public venue that you were attending had security cameras doesn't mean that you get to play the whole "I didn't know I was being recorded" card and pretend like your privacy was being violated because they caught you jerking off your date. Unreal. Now, to make matters worse,
and so you can get the product and not have any oven grease. What if I don't have oven grease? Colorado woke AF.
She's still pretending like she wasn't being disrespectful to the service workers when she was. And this is a bad thing to lie about because she's inadvertently going to make people revisit this incident and remember why they're so disgusted by her. But let's do that because, I mean, if you're going to lie, then we're going to fact check you. So if you'll recall, she was caught vaping in front of a pregnant woman and jerking off her date. And when employees came to escort her off the premises, well, she initially refused to leave and dropped the "Do you know who I am" card, and then she threatened to call the mayor. So yes, there was disrespect, and her refusal to own up to it demonstrates that she hasn't actually learned anything from this incident, and she hasn't grown. And that's too bad for her because it's still a sticking point for Republican voters in that district. For example, CBS News reports, quote, "I don't like her," said registered Douglas County Republican Brian LaJoie. Boebert, who currently represents District 3, has made headlines for her controversial behavior and
Lauren Boebert, unfortunately. Yeah, please call the mayor.
Opinions. Quote, "Just her behavior. I'm a person that believes that you should behave appropriately when in elected office, no matter
Karen
the party,
Boebert.
no matter the person, and I don't think that she fulfills that role. I will vote for someone else," said LaJoie. And that's one of many Republican voters that news agencies have spoken to that have cited that incident as one of the main reasons why they just don't like her. Remember, we're talking about people in Ken Buck's old district, a pretty traditional anti-Trump Republican whose constituents care about respect and civility and tradition, so it's not that surprising that his former constituents aren't going to be receptive to Bobo shenanigans. In fact, they're pretty turned off by it. But there's more from this debate that I want to show you. However, I do first want to...
Simon Laka, welcome. And using flash photography at live theater, which gets left out and shouldn't. True. I didn't even know that. What an a-hole.
Talk about why Boebert chose to run in the 4th district in the first place instead of the 3rd, because that's really important for this next clip, because she nearly lost the 3rd district to a Democrat in 2022. Now, polls show she wouldn't have fared any better the next time, so she chose to run in Ken Buck's old seat the moment that he announced he was retiring. Now, the reason why she chose to do this is because, in theory, she could insulate herself from any Democratic challenger because the 4th district is much more red than the 3rd district. The problem is she may have made a catastrophic miscalculation here because an internal poll released by her potential Democratic opponent, Ike McCorkle, shows that she's actually losing that seat in the general election by 14 points. He's polling at 43% while she's at 27%. Now, there is a caveat. 33% of voters are still undecided, but still, this is a Republican stronghold. And the fact that she is losing to a Democrat, at least based on this one poll, is very devastating. Now,
how funny would that be? When you had to be aware you're recording, you need to know what you're doing, especially if you're a person of interest and it will become public. Right. I was in the 4th till recently redistricting. Let's go McCorkle. That's such a big night because we had no idea it was even a possibility. It was rated like R plus 10 and no outsiders got involved.
Responded to the poll by coping and going on to blame Republican voters. Yes, Republican voters, because she nearly lost her 2022 re-election campaign. Let's watch.
First of all, I'm not trusting any internal polls that are secretly released by a Democrat campaign. And I think the Democrat who released that internal poll needs to be focused on his own primary, which he is scheduled to lose to his opponent, Trish. We have a special election that is taking place in Colorado on June 25th. And she has a huge advantage being the Democrat nominee for that special election. I do believe that Greg Lopez will ultimately win that special election, and we all need to get out that vote. In Colorado's 3rd district,
I think she's a narcissist who, like Sinema, thinks she's too big of a celebrity to lose.
we did have a very close election, but we also had 50,000 Republicans not show up to vote. And maybe it's because those Republicans were frustrated at other elected Republicans who have failing conservative records, who refuse to stand with President Trump.
Yeah, it's your fault, okay?
And they
So basically, any poll that doesn't favor is rigged. Exactly. Colorado News, don't bring up the restaurant. She doesn't want people thinking about shooters.
felt abandoned statewide and nationwide. But no matter what, this is the time for us to show up and get out the vote. I do not believe me being here is making this a vulnerable seat. This is a huge move for conservatives in Colorado.
So just to be clear, Ms. Boebert, you blame Republican voters for the fact that you nearly lost a safe seat and not your own conduct.
When 50,000 Republican voters do not show up and think that their vote...
How could it be my fault? Obviously, it's the voters' fault.
does not matter, that does make an impact on elections.
Maybe you shouldn't have told them that the election was stolen then. Ever think about that? Because if you tell people that their votes don't matter because Democrats are just going to steal the elections anyway, then of course they're going to be disillusioned with the system and choose to just not participate. But what she's saying doesn't even make sense, because if Republican voters are specifically disappointed because so much of the GOP are rhinos, they're fake Republicans, and they're not standing with Trump, wouldn't they, in theory, come out to support you instead? Support you overwhelmingly since you're one of the few non-rhino Trump sycophants in Congress? Well, they didn't, so why would they protest you if the GOP being more like you is what would make them happy? It's just nonsensical, right? They didn't come out to support you because they don't like you, and she doesn't want to admit that, right? And it seems like voters in the 4th district don't really like you as well. And you can't blame rhinos for that. You told people that you're a family values conservative, then you got caught jerking off your date in public. If you lose this race, you will have no one to blame but yourself. But her electability has become a huge concern, and her opponents are pointing out that vulnerability.
Colorado's shifting left fast and hard, but her being there is a huge liability for them.
As is the moderator.
Who here believes that if Republican primary voters nominate Ms. Boebert, that she could realistically lose in November? Mr. Lynch, Ms. Flora, and Mr. Yu say they believe that she could realistically lose. Mr. Sonnenberg, Mr. Holtorf do not believe that she could realistically lose.
Let me clarify.
November.
I answered the question, so I didn't know.
Okay.
You wanted.
Do you believe that she could lose in November?
It's very possible. Yeah.
Okay, that was the question.
Okay,
so I'm
thank
going
you
to raise
very
my
much.
hand just to clarify. It's possible.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Boebert, an opportunity to respond to what they've said.
Yes, well, it's interesting to hear Democrat talking points from my Republican opponents talking about this purge and purify process in the Republican Party. We just want people who are elected who actually represent our values.
Wait. And how do you suppose that's happening, Lauren? How do you suppose that's happening, Lauren? You are doing the purify and purge, okay? Like, the entire MAGA movement has basically taken over the Republican Party. That is the Republican Party. The Democrat talking point that the Republicans are engaging in in purge and purifying tactics I'll rewind for you. I moved here to represent your values.
Hear Democrat talking points from my Republican opponents talking about this purge and purify process in the Republican
If she didn't really mean what she's saying, I'd laugh.
Party. We just want people who are elected who actually represent our values.
Ouch. So 4 out of 5 of her GOP opponents think that she is a political liability. And as you saw, she's not too happy about that. And she accused them of using Democrat talking points. Now, the reason why she said that is because in a different portion of the debate,
they like the party in Colorado, can confirm.
Which you didn't see, her opponent, she was asked about comments that she made. It seems like in the comment she was indirectly referencing the Beetlejuice incident, but she didn't bring that up when she was asked the question by the moderator. Instead, she talked about, how some Republicans, cough, cough, Lauren Boebert, they're subjecting other Republicans to these purity tests for not being, too pro-Trump or whatnot, and that behavior is turning off a lot of voters. She was seemingly trying to pivot and talk about, what Bobo is doing to turn off voters, but that not being the Beetlejuice incident. I didn't show you the clip because it was a very long, meandering answer with a lot of superfluous information that didn't really matter. But for the most part, what she said kind of led Boebert to say, oh, you're using Democrat talking points, right?
There's a good reason number 45 was the best of all time. Because we can always trust him to tell it like it is. He urged me to...
Is this a bit? Is this a bit? I don't know, BPCL. I'm not going to click that link. We all know that 45 was the best thing that happened to this country because he told it like it is. while wearing a Cabela's a Cabela's hat painted poorly, I might add, in camo. But who is behind the blackouts? Also, what blackouts? Are blackouts really an issue? Only in certain areas. And that's mainly because of climate change. Like, I know that California has occasional brownouts that they have to do because of, well, there's two factors here. There's climate change and there's the privatization of critical infrastructure like, electricity, like power. So yeah, it's a combination of those two things. But like, why is YouTube airing this ad? Is this like a joke? PatriotsStory.com. This might not actually be this might not actually be a bit. This might end up being some like Alex Jones level type shit. Like if I click on this, it'll probably take me to some InfoWars type website. California had some like decades ago. Maybe he's in Texas. Yeah, there are certain places where that is an issue. But, yeah. The purpose behind Patriot Story is to demonstrate our backing for an exceptional leader who we believe will reclaim the country in 2024. Wait, is that real? Is that from the actual website? Do you sometimes click links like this for research purposes? Sometimes, but I don't know. This guy kind of popped out of nowhere here. They're offering free Trump merch for a minor shipping fee. Oh my god. Yeah. Man. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. It's just to sell Trump merchandise. Commemorative gold bar, $1,000 gold bar or White House watch. Jane Doe, howdy, howdy indeed. Welcome. If you are a Trump follower, there's a realistic chance that this ad might trigger you. Yeah, of course. Yeah, and then I can go to patriotstory.com and buy my commemorative gold bar or a White House watch. The merch links go to a different site, so I'm not clicking on that. No, don't. I'm surprised you even clicked on this stuff. I wanted to know what the minor shipping fee was, like $30. Do they have any Trump Kleenex and diapers? Maybe. All right, so it is just a scam, right? But it sounded so serious. I thought it was a bit. I tried to Google it, but Chrome betrayed me and loaded the site. Oof. The guy looked so serious. I thought it was like a bit. I was like, this guy sounds way too serious. But nope. This is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that would be perfect for Trumpers. So this makes sense. I have my issue all the way locked down for ads. I don't get any of this. I have blocking past the browser level, operating system level.
Get this message out to as many true patriots as I can.
True patriots.
Folks, something big is about to happen to this nation. This has nothing to do with wearing silly masks again, or China buying up our farmland left and right, or spy balloons soaring through the air, or even the hundreds of thousands of people pouring into this country. What's about to come is much worse.
Much worse.
Refuses to talk about this. Folks, I'm a combat veteran, Purple Heart recipient. I put together a documentary. It's completely free to watch.
Yeah, it's completely free to watch. Click on my link and buy Trump gear, okay?
But I think that there's something there to this notion that Bobo is turning off a lot of GOP voters, namely ones who were represented by Ken Buck, who's...
That documentary was not mentioned on the landing page. Yeah, it's a freaking scam. Yeah, buy red hats to own the libs. It's a total scam.
An anti-Trump Republican, and here she is coming into that district telling his constituents that the problem with the GOP is that they're not pro-Trump enough. They're all rhinos, right? It's just ridiculous. But that's how she kind of evades this question about her own electability. But that wasn't the only thing that they hit her on, because her opponents also called her out for being ineffective.
Yeah, well, I thank you. And I appreciate listening to the words of people that have never really passed a law here on the stage, to include Ms. Boebert.
I have passed laws. Thank you.
And Ms. Boebert, how many bills did you prime sponsor? I said 38 I prime sponsored, not co-sponsor, because you can co-sponsor post facto. Anybody can put their name on a bill after it passes. How many bills did you prime sponsor in the U.S. Congress that actually were signed by the President of the United States?
So thank you so much, Richard. You know, it's interesting that you're touting the legislation that you have passed. You also say that you are a no-nonsense conservative. Well, I think the voters back...
Yeah, so the question was what legislation has she actually passed? Yeah. His camouflage also told me the general idea of the ad. That was so, like, man... I'm gonna be honest. If that entire thing was a lie, if that entire thing was a lie, was just like to get you to buy Trump merch? What are the odds that that dude like is an actual veteran? She passed the Pueblo Jobs Act.
home should know that a no-nonsense conservative should not have a failing Liberty score. We have the Independent Institute who scores representatives for their legislative record. And
what does that have to do with it? What legislation have you passed?
if you are not voting how you campaign, well, then you get a negative impact. And I'm the only person
Would you like to
here
answer the question,
who
or would you like to
I still
talk
have
about
more time.
Liberty
Thank
scores?
You.
You can answer the question, ma'am.
I
It's
certainly
okay.
will. So,
I asked a very specific question. Please answer.
One of my favorite pieces of legislation that has been signed into law is my Pueblo Jobs Act that creates at least 1,000 jobs in Pueblo, Colorado.
So as you can see, the general sentiment towards her is that she's a loudmouth who's all talk and no.
Literally, like, that's all she had to say. I bet she got an A+ in debate class.
No action. And her opponents are kind of positioning themselves as the real Republicans. That's what she's doing too. But they're saying, no, we're the real Republicans and we actually get things done, unlike her. And at this point in time, honestly, it is impossible to tell how things are going. But I will say that she just had her worst fundraising haul in 4 years. And this is according to the Washington Examiner, which is no liberal outlet. But with that...
Wait. Really? Boebert's lagging fundraising district in Colorado district gets boost from George. Oh, I'm sorry. I read George Soros for some reason. From George Santos.
She just had her worst fundraising haul in 4 years. And this is according to the Washington Examiner, which is no liberal outlet. But with that being said, she still managed to outraise all of her opponents because, you know, she has the most name recognition. And in American politics, money does move mountains. So, you know, you don't really know how this is going to go. Her being a fundraising behemoth before didn't stop her from nearly losing in 2022. So honestly, anything can happen. We'll just have to wait and see, but I'm crossing my fingers and my toes that she's defeated because that would be one of the best results we can hope for. Hopefully she's defeated in the primary, but it might be even funnier if she wins the primary and then loses in the general to a Republican, or to a Democrat rather.
I think that would be funnier. Yeah, I'd rather her win the primary and lose the general. I think that would be funnier in terms of like just pure comedic effect. Just pure comedic effect. Like, this is all a freaking circus, just to be clear. Okay, this entire thing is a freaking circus. But since we're here, we might as well get a freaking laugh out of it, huh? And that would be funnier if she loses in the general.
Bucks old district. That would be poetic justice if you ask me, but I'll take any loss I can get. Primary, general, I just wanted to lose. So people in CD4, make it happen.
Penis and balls, vagina, penis and...
Thanks, Mike. If Boebert loses either election, I volunteer her to a movie to cheer her up.
The Article 3 project, not unlike the 2025 project. What is the Article 3 project?
I actually was looking this up. So that Article 3 project thing is a judicial group, I think, that's meant to do like conservative activism as it relates to the judiciary.
They're like, yeah,
it's the lawfare.
Yeah, like an interest group to confirm conservative judges.
Right. And they're twisting it into like, you see how Donald Trump is being attacked by the use of laws when he breaks them. We're going to do the same thing. Here is Mike Davis on with Benny Johnson.
So all across my social media feeds, there are people saying,
yes, the very normal and very hinged. The very normal and very hinged Benny Johnson. Gotcha.
That they will be voting for Donald Trump. They never wanted to vote for Donald Trump. They don't like Donald Trump.
Pause it for a second. Ms. Benny Johnson, who would be on all of his social media feeds? Can we get a list of who he follows?
He loves to follow
to get a
people who
notion
aren't
if he's got
losers.
the pulse of the nation on his social media feeds.
Isn't that so funny too? Because conservatives are always accusing liberals of being in their Brooklyn, or their Los Angeles liberal bubbles, but this is exactly how they do their.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very, very cool, very normal.
When the guy was like, I went to a coffee shop and I heard everyone saying that they're actually really into Trump.
At least a coffee shop theoretically could have people in there who are not, you're not selecting.
Algorithmically
right?
tailored to you.
I've found everybody on Instagram is talking about apples.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Everywhere I look, it's like everybody's talking about apples on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. And the
Wow. Carpentry.
And the new
And
rising
I'll tell you something. Seriously, everyone, and I will say this definitively, not everyone, but the vast majority of people that I talk to about sports are like, the Celtics are great.
Yeah.
It's crazy what's going on in this country right now.
No offense, but if you still think stocks, real estate, or crypto are the best passive income investments into...
Go ahead.
So
now I'm getting ads on how I should invest my money. Gotcha.
all across my social media feeds, there are people saying that they will be voting for Donald Trump. They never wanted to vote for Donald Trump. They don't like Donald Trump. They never voted for Donald Trump before. And now they're voting for Trump to stop Marxism and to stop communism in this country.
True. Hey, listen, quick question. How many of those people actually exist? These new voters that previously weren't thinking about voting for Donald Trump that are now all up in arms and going to vote for him, because I'm willing to wager that number's how do we put this? A statistical rounding error.
Pause it for 1 second, too. I want everybody to know that, like, every one of these people who are like the Celtics are the best think the Mavs are horrible, too.
That's crazy.
Was the communism and Marxism not apparent until Trump got busted for 30?
No, it's over the edge now.
All the dudes, seriously, all the people who say like they want the Celtics in my social media feeds are like the Mavs are communists.
It actually wasn't even a jury; it was a Soviet.
Yeah.
For Donald Trump, they never wanted to vote for Donald Trump. They don't like Donald Trump. They never voted for Donald Trump before. And now they're voting for Trump to stop Marxism and to stop communism in this country. Now the Trump vote has become a protest vote.
Surprisingly, a host of people who believe just that just found the internet for the first time this week. Law does apply on Trump as well. How cruel is that? Very cruel. I'm offended too.
Against a
much worse when the Mavericks won their conference.
This is the worst possible result. And this is why I think, Mike, you haven't seen the kind of squeeing, psychosexual, orgasmic joy from
the what? I knew it. Biden is a secret Marxist. Yeah, deep down, you know.
on the left, there's something that's been strangely missing from my timeline, which is what I thought would be the cringe cavalry of people celebrating this. That hasn't
Spoiler, it's because these charges don't come with serious jail time. Right, like, we don't even know if this guy is going to ever see the inside of a jail cell, let alone with these charges, right? He funded so much money for his, he fundraised so much money for his, since his conviction. I forgot how much, but it's a mystery to me. It's a cult. It's a cult. It's not really, it doesn't go deeper than that. It's a cult. I think he fundraised like something to the tune of tens of millions. I think somebody yesterday said it was like 50 something million. Oh man, 300 million. Wow. But yeah, it's all just like basically legal defense money at this point. Everyone who reports on these numbers is a fisherman. The revival of Marxism is paying off. Reactionary paranoia about it is blazing. Thanks, Zizek. The sad part is that Trump's trials were a structured seasonal reality TV series with high ratings. He would be promoting the ish out of it. He is, though. Think about it. He is. In a way, right? Like, how many times does this guy post on his Truth Social about how he's the victim of a unfair, targeted political witch hunt? The dude's been promoting it since the beginning. All to make sure that victim mentality, that martyr image, gets burned into the cult members, so that when inevitably, as it happened here, the guilty verdict dropped. Now he's just the martyr has been made.
I think there's like a clear-eyed, sober moment right now where Democrats realize, at least the sober ones, realize what they've done.
Pause it for 1 second. Yeah. It's funny because
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? The Democrats haven't done anything. Yeah, Alex Jones martyred. Oh, actually, that reminds me, Redmond Berry. That reminds me. Oh my goodness. Can we stop for a second? That reminds. Oh man. Yeah, it's the trademark, right? Hold on. 18 seconds, okay? We just need to divert. We just need to divert for 18 seconds, okay?
At the end of the day, we're going to beat these people. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children. Just take more calls. Go ahead and do the next person. At the end of the day, we're going to beat these.
This is the fakest fake crying I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know. It might be. But this is in response, I believe, because he's being, they're fighting in court right now of whether or not to liquidate some of his assets for whatchamacallit, the Sandy Hook victims. Did you see the Rittenhouse testimony? That was some fake crying. Those 1800 chops are coming in nice. Real bad, Buren. Oh, man. Do you think that this one was better or the Rittenhouse one?
I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children. Just take more calls. Go ahead and do the next person. At the end of the day, we're going to beat these people. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. These people hate our children.
He's been convicted for his false statements many times as far as I know. Oh yeah, like in terms of like this dude's like business, like financial stuff, it's cooked. So they're trying to get some of his assets liquidated, and I think that's what's in response to this. Rittenhouse can act, but those are some real tears because he thought he was going to see some consequences for his murders. I watched the whole trial. He was a piece of shit, but he was scared in that moment. Convicted of slander, a particular kind of false statement. Right, over the Sandy Hook stuff.
It's so easy to find like some of the contrarians going like, I can't believe how Democrats are celebrating this.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, which is it? Maybe it's just his social media feed.
I mean, what are they talking about? You'd think if the shoe wasn't on the other foot, they wouldn't be literally jumping
Of
for
course they
joy.
would. I mean, are you kidding? Of
Yeah,
course.
and I don't know what he's talking about here. This was like literally Christmas for liberal moms and
I
dads.
saw so many people. Yeah.
MSNBC. I mean,
I was in a parent-teacher conference, and I was told by the teacher, like, Sam, if you need to take 5 minutes, if we all need to take 5 minutes, as the verdict was coming down. I was like, what?
By the way, it is really hard to get charged with slander of regular people. Yeah, and I imagine proving slander against like a celebrity, because you really have to prove like damages. I imagine that's really difficult. One of those people I wouldn't believe if they told about the current weather. Why are you banning me? I think you're discriminating against Asians, and I want to report you to Twitch. Yeah, that's what's happening. Not the fact that you're acting like a troll with a 16-hour account. True. It was a feat for Alex Jones to get into that situation. And yet he managed. Get out of here. Low effort trolling. Low effort trolling. He did pull it off. Everyone said he couldn't do it.
Go ahead.
Of people celebrating this, that hasn't. I think there's like a clear-eyed, sober moment right now where Democrats realize, at least the sober ones, realize what they've done.
Yeah, President Biden and his aides and allies.
True. True. This was a very intricate, long game. Long game plan by Joe Biden. Very true.
Have executed a terrorist attack against our American legal system. And they're like the Hamas people cheering after the terrorist attack, and they don't understand how much.
Can I, okay. First off, he's saying they're like the Hamas people cheering, but Benny Johnson has just said they're not cheering. But okay, put that aside.
Yeah.
Can we just comment for a moment? Put this up, the screen up.
Okay.
I mean, you know what they need to do is get Matt Leck on the on their OBS.
Get it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Take him seriously when he's like,
this is like me when Matt's off.
Exactly. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Maybe
his aides and allies have executed a terrorist attack against our American legal system. And they're like the Hamas people cheering after the terrorist attack, and they don't understand how much they have poked the bear. They are going to get annihilated in this next election. On November 5th, 2024, President Biden is going to get chased out of the White House, and all of his aides and allies are going to get chased out of the White House.
Wait, are they threatening another January 6th insurrection? Is that... Is that what the implied threat here is? What terrorist attack? It didn't... Not a thing that happened. Why is Dick Cheney a censored... Okay, anyways. Coming up on season special for POTUS Witch Hunt sentencing for 34 convictions. Visit TrumpWhiteHouse.com/betpool. Place your bets on all aspects of sentencing. 75% of proceeds go directly to Make America Great for fund for draining the DC swamp. Too phallic, I guess, yeah. Richard Cheney. Not even the most famous Cheney anymore.
House, and that's when the real reckoning begins on January 20th, 2025. I don't think that President Biden and his people understand how much they have outraged, enraged, red-pilled a lot of these Republicans who are the biggest cowards on the planet, these country club Republican types. These country club Republican types, after Biden's Hiroshima yesterday on the legal system, they have parked
Pause
their
it for 1 second.
Mercedes.
I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, like, because Benny Johnson has a very weird expression on his face. And all I'm thinking is he's looking at this guy going like, why is he sweating so much?
I was going to say, his face like a honey
where
ham.
is it? Like, what? Why? Like,
or why is he contradicting my entire damn premise, which was that liberals were actually turning over? I mean, he's saying both there, that they're getting red pilled, but also saying that they're hysterical and that they don't know what they've done to this country. Just pick a lane.
He's supposed to be the expert, too. He's talking about poking the bear, just like
Oh my
dumb.
God, we hear this from conservatives all the time.
It looks like
words on the planet, these country club Republican types. These country club Republican types, after Biden's Hiroshima yesterday on the legal system, they have parked their Mercedes and they've put away their golf clubs and they've gotten out their machetes. I mean, they are. I've never seen so many rich old white men outraged. And there's nothing more.
Are they outraged or are they not?
No. Benny Johnson's saying the Democrats are outraged.
I think the alt-right and center-right are going to turn on each other and write each other off, and Trump is going to get literally 0 votes. I don't know. I think that the far right has already won the Republican Party. Biden blew up a city with atomic weapons. Yep. Liz Cheney's one of the few Republicans with a backbone. Nah, not really. Not at all. I've seen a spike today of right-wingers saying, I'm sick of Republicans, they're cowards, etc. Note to overheating white guy, don't mix coffee and Adderall before doing a line of cocaine.
Okay.
But the real question is, these old white guys at the country clubs who's got the golf clubs in the trunk, do they also have machetes in the trunk?
No, they have
my machete Hiroshima.
But I don't understand Hiroshima. But what? But I don't understand. Like, why? When you mix, like, these guys are like,
She was in favor of both Trump's impeachment. That means not something, doesn't it? Nah, not really. Not really. Look up her voting record with Trump's agenda. Look up her voting record with Trump's agenda. It's like over 90 something percent.
Like they don't actually have machetes. I mean, wouldn't the thing to be say like now instead of like trying to tee off on the first
tell the caddy to hand me my pitchfork, please.
Tee, they're taking these clubs and they're ready to use them on people.
Why are they attacking white men?
Their core demographic.
They've put away their golf clubs and they've gotten out their machetes. I mean, they are.
Maraschino cherries.
I've never seen so many rich old white men outraged. And there's nothing more dangerous than rich old white men who are angry because they have the resources and they have the ability to actually do something about it. And so all these little woke cupcakes on the other side who do their stuff, they're going to get crushed legally, politically, and financially. We are going to crush you after January 20th, 2025, after what you've done. And it's so much bigger than President Trump. President Trump just said this, and he's spot on. This is so much bigger than Donald Trump. This is so much bigger than one campaign. This is so much bigger than one presidency. They have destroyed our legal system because they are so deranged. Their Trump derangement, they cannot control their Trump derangement. They're like Hamas people who can't control their hatred of Jews. They can't control their Trump derangement. And so they let their Trump derangement lead us to this legal Hiroshima. And they're going to pay a price. They're going to pay a price. We already saw.
He really does think it's Hiroshima.
Hiroshima.
I mean, the first time, okay, the guy's saying marchettes too, but he said Hiroshima twice now.
Folks, do you know how bad it has to be when Sam is chastising you for your pronunciation of certain words or, especially in another language? I mean,
Hiroshima.
Yeah, he should probably know that one.
God.
Aruba, Jamaica.
That's what I was thinking.
Jews, they can't control their Trump derangement, and so they let their Trump derangement lead us to this legal Hiroshima. And they're going to pay a price for this. They're going to pay a price. We already saw with Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio. He's done a criminal referral to the Justice Department. Merrick Garland, that little sniffling punk, won't do anything about it. But guess what? When Trump is back in office on January 20th, 2025, there will be a criminal probe opened on this criminal conspiracy
Hiroshima.
by President Biden, by Merrick Garland, by Jack Smith, by Jay Bratz, by Matthew Colangelo, Tish James, Fannie Willis, Alvin Bragg, Juan Merchan, Lauren Merchan, people on the outside of this lawfare too, like Andrew Weissman and the lawfare crew. You will all be, at a minimum, key fact witnesses that we're going to have to get discovery from in this criminal probe. So save your documents, guys. There is absolutely going to be retribution.
I've got a problem that I'm pretty sure you can help me with. Yes, you will be paid for helping me. Actually paid really, really well.
So
why didn't they make these arguments to the jury where it would have mattered? It's probably the same reason why all these people who are election deniers can't point to, can't make these arguments in front of a court. Like, they can't make any of these arguments in court. I love this trend of inventing new words for their bullshit every month so people can easily write them off. I'm guessing the problem with that guy needs help with his pants.
I'm curious about, there's been some rumblings about where the donations to Donald Trump's campaign are going in terms of his legal fight. What is this group's involvement with Trump's legal defense is my question.
Yeah. I would imagine not much, although I would imagine they're also fundraising off of it.
Yeah.
It's all a scam. I mean, the idea of them going after, this idea of investigating the investigators, there's something to it. it would be an interesting thing to watch. Maybe they should hire, you know who would be great at this? No. There was a former U.S. Attorney General. I think he was in the department out of Connecticut. I think it was Durham was his name. Was it John Durham?
Right.
And in fact, he actually had some special prosecutor experience. Maybe he could do this again, investigate the investigators. And after 3 years of an investigation that was allowed to continue under Merrick Garland to waste U.S. tax dollars, the guy found nothing. Do you remember how many people were touting the Durham investigation? The Durham investigation, zero, nada, zilch. You know what they should do is that they should have investigations in Congress, because the Republicans control these things. They should do it. Maybe there should be an investigation into, like, maybe I don't know, maybe Biden's crime family or something like that.
It's almost like no decent lawyer will defend Trump because they all know he lies and doesn't pay his bills. Carpet Packs, welcome.
One that doesn't lead to the indictment of the key witness, star witness. That would be an interesting thing to watch.
Who was working for the Russian government, if I'm not mistaken?
I think he was working for Hiroshima.
Oh, right.
Or Nagasaki.
I also love the good touch of, like, they're just like the Hamas supporters who hate Jews, and also Merrick Garland is sniveling and deceitful.
Yes, exactly. He's conspiring. He's probably a moneylender. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours.
I'm already subscribed, Sam.
Now that Donald Trump has been convicted of all 34 counts against him in the New York hush money trial, what do the polls say? Right? I mean, that's the big thing everybody cares about at this moment, is how is this going to impact his re-election chances? And if every single poll conducted since Thursday is
I always think this guy's Alex Jones. No.
any indication, Donald Trump is in some really big trouble. We have at least 4 new polls. We have a Reuters poll, we have an ABC Ipsos poll, we have a YouGov poll, we have a Morning Consult poll, and every single one of those polls found the same thing. Like, not even really any difference in any of these polls that talk to different people. All of them found that, 1, a majority of Americans believe that the trial was not only fair, but that the jury reached the correct conclusion.
It's Bizarro World Alex Jones. There you go.
That in and of itself is the most remarkable part of this. Like, majority of people say, yep, Trump is wrong when he says the thing is rigged. It was a fair trial. And
since we're talking about a cult, his conviction doesn't affect his polls at all. His actual numbers as far as people going to vote for him, I don't think that needle is I don't think that needle is going to move very much. I think you're right. Which poll has the pole position?
And the jury came back with the right decision. Now, obviously, a majority of Republicans in these polls, in all of these polls, don't think that, right? That is the one group where they're like, no, 68 to 72% believe, depending on the poll, that the whole thing was rigged. It's all unfair. The jury came to the wrong conclusion. But all of these polls did find that at least 10% of Republicans in every poll, some more than that, do believe that, oh, yeah, it was fair and the jury came to the right decision.
Now, how many of those people are going to will actually abandon Trump?
And the Reuters poll actually found that 1 in 10 Republicans Republicans say that this conviction makes them much less likely to vote for Donald Trump. But it's not just the Republican issue that Donald Trump needs to worry about. All of these polls found similar findings among independent voters, and that's really the group that matters. Most Republicans say this isn't going to change our vote. Most Democrats say it's not going to change our vote. Independents, on the other hand, they now lean heavily towards Biden. Let me read you some of the results from different polls. The ABC...
The undecided will start to break Biden. Saying a poll is rigged is not very polite.
News poll found that, Jesus Christ, you have, 49% who think that Trump should end his presidential campaign. So a plurality are like, yeah, he should just leave. We don't even want him in the race anymore.
To be fair, that's kind of been the gist of it from the beginning, right? Like, a plurality of people didn't want Trump or Biden to begin with.
God, that is staggering. YouGov, 48% of independents think...
No, 49% of independents. I got a bacon grease burn on my thumb. Ouch. A real question. How many voters consider themselves as independent? A lot.
That he's guilty. 25% do not. That is a very, very large disparity there. Morning Consult. 52% of independents approve of the verdict. 33% disapprove. Reuters, you have, 21% of independents say they're much less likely to vote for Trump. So that's painful. You've got all of these independents out there. And those are the ones who are going to decide the election. Republicans know who they're voting for. Democrats know who they're voting for. It's the independents who are the people on the fence. Like, we don't know. We haven't been paying attention for 4 years. We're confused. But now they're like, well, I mean, this guy's got a felony conviction. He's got 34 felony convictions technically. So we're not going to vote for him. And again, 49% are like, yeah, he should just drop out right now, according to the ABC News poll. This is very bad for Donald Trump, especially when the polling aggregates show that he's only beating President Biden by 1.2 points right now. This is enough to sway that. The 1 in 10 Republicans in the Reuters poll who say they will not vote for him now, that is enough to tank him. Even if the independent numbers had stayed the same, losing 10% of your own Republican base, losing 10% of your own base in any election is likely enough to destroy your campaign. So things are very bad for Donald Trump. And I imagine once we get to that sentencing on July 11th, these polls are going to be even worse for him as we get closer to the election. Hey, everybody. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Fun fact, libertarians just stated their intent is to make Biden lose. Not surprising at all. An Epic Times executive is facing money laundering charges. That's right. Who would have thought that the head of the one of the heads of the Epoch Times, which is a far right news organization, is now facing money laundering charges. We don't support Trump, we just want Biden to lose. A once small newspaper founded by Chinese dissidents that became prominent right-wing media outlet that trafficked in conspiracy theories in recent years is now facing accusations that one of its top officers was engaged in criminal money laundering scheme. The chief financial officer, or CFO, for the Epoch? Was charged on Monday with laundering at least $67 million in illegally obtained funds. After the alleged scheme began in 2020, the Epoch Times revenue jumped from almost $15.5 million the year before to over $70 million, according to federal tax filings. Federal prosecutors from the Southern District of New York allege Weidong Guan, also known as Bill Guan, led an initiative that used a cryptocurrency platform to buy prepaid debit cards, at a discount that had been loaded with illicit funds, including from fraudulently obtained unemployment insurance benefits. Yikes. Like, it's bad enough that you're already, like, engaging in some dubious financial shenanigans, but, like, it's like extra effed up when you're fraudulently obtaining unemployment insurance benefits. Participants in the scheme allegedly used stolen identities to open up additional financial accounts, which they then used to transfer funds to bank accounts associated with the media company, and were sometimes laundered through Guan's personal accounts and other company accounts, according to the prosecutor. Most of them stay to the center because they think it will keep them in office, and we proved them wrong with Manchin and Sinema, who were not in that camp, but it was still instructive. Yep. That paper is a rag too. Yeah, it's pretty bad if you've ever seen it. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Guan conspired with others to benefit himself, the media company, and its affiliates by laundering tens of millions of dollars and fraudulently obtained unemployment insurance benefits and other crime proceeds, said the U.S. Attorney Damian Williams in a media release. When banks raised questions about the funds, Guan allegedly lied and repeatedly falsely claimed that the funds came from legitimate donations to the media company. Guan pled not guilty and was in custody on Monday night facing a $3 million bail package. In a statement to NPR, the Epoch Times spokesperson said that the newspaper has a guiding principle that elevates integrity in its dealings above everything else, and intends to fully cooperate with the investigation against Guan. Yeah, that's super ironic. I have to go to bed now. See you in 2 weeks, I guess. No problem. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, that ad was a scam alert. My conservative in-laws got a free copy, even they weren't buying it. %88 of all registered voters in Arizona are independent. In the interim, although Mr. Guan is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, the company has suspended him until the matter is resolved. The Epoch Times has ties to Falun Gong, a Chinese spiritual movement, and was founded in 2000 to counter Chinese Communist Party propaganda. The media company now operates in 35 countries and in 22 languages, according to its website. I'm sorry, Arkansas, you're right. Not Arizona. Arizona's AZ. Just ignore me. The New York Times investigation of the newspaper in 2020 found that it had become a powerful force in right-wing media by embracing former President Trump and flooding Facebook with clickbait and conspiracy theories. NBC News found that Epoch Times launched an aggressive pro-Trump advertising campaign ahead of the 2020 election and created fake accounts to spread its content. It was later banned from advertising on Facebook for violating the company's transparency rule for ad buys. The newspaper has peddled false narratives such as there was a widespread fraud in the 2020 election, the COVID vaccines were dangerous, and there's a conspiracy afoot to make people eat insects. That's funny. A.J. Bauer, a journalism professor for University of Alabama who studies conservative media, said he was not surprised by the announcement of the money laundering charges. He noted the newspaper's rapid and massive financial growth did not seem to correspond with a comparable increase in circulation or influence within the right-wing media sphere. Something always felt off to me about it, and it seems like government investigators felt that too. Yeah. AZ is split 33% for each Dems, GOP, and Independents. Probably an opportunity to flip them back. Pryor was in power there for decades. Good news, everybody. Key Trump allies charged in fake elector scheme in Wisconsin. 3 men involved in the so-called fake elector scheme to keep former President Trump in office following the 2020 election loss have been charged in Wisconsin. Mike Roman, a Philadelphia native who served as Trump's campaign head of Election Day operations, was charged Tuesday, as with Kenneth Chesbro, an attorney who struck a plea deal with prosecutors in a separate case in Georgia. James Trupis, a former judge and Trump campaign attorney, was also charged in connection with the fake elector scheme. Chesbro, Roman, and Trupis are all charged with felony forgery, according to court records. They are charged for their role in getting a slate of pro-Trump electors to sign paperwork attesting falsely that Trump had won the Wisconsin... had won Wisconsin in the 2020 election. Similar slates of fake electors for Trump were organized in several states, and charges have been brought in Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, and Georgia. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Cawley, Democrat who brought the case, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Charging documents said Trupis and Chesbro traveled by charter jet to Washington for a meeting with Trump in the Oval Office on December 16th of 2020. 2 days later, Trupis wrote to Chesbro that nothing about our meeting with the president can be shared with anyone. Then the day after Christmas, Chesbro wrote back to Trupis that one way to delay Congress's certification of the Electoral College results on January 6th would be to have then Vice President decline to open an official elector forms verifying their state's results from Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Obviously, the discussion of such tactical options is highly confidential. I think sending the henchman to prison is a more effective deterrent than long protracted case with Trump. I mean, throw them all in jail. I don't care. Right to jail, right away. But yeah, you'll get faster results going that route. In a later message cited by prosecutors, Chesbro wrote on January 6th of 2020, January 4th, that Mike Roman is the guy on top of delivering the fake elector slates to Congress. A law student then flew to meet Chesbro on January 5th. 5 minutes until I make the drop, she wrote, according to prosecutors, I feel like a drug dealer. The fake elector scheme is a major component of the charges that special counsel Jack Smith has brought against Trump in federal court in Washington, D.C. That case, assigned to U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan, is currently on hold while the Supreme Court decides on Trump's claim of absolute immunity from prosecution. The trial is unlikely to go forward before Election Day. I said from the beginning, pardon Trump and arrest everyone else. Leave him looking like a rat. Nah, get them all. Right to jail sounds like a right-wing Orwellian thing. It's a parody from Parks and Recreation.
Perhaps you might happen to know what time Scotland Yard closes. I have to report murder.
Now imagine you're holding coffee. This is outrageous. Where are the armed men who come in to take the protesters away? Where are they? This kind of behavior is never tolerated in Boracua. You shout like that, they put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing. Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists. You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses. You right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away. We have the best patients in the world because of jail.
That's where that's from. Chesbro and Trupis previously settled a lawsuit related to fake electors in Wisconsin that resulted in the release of more than 1,000 pages of emails and text messages, though neither man admitted any liability or culpability. The released documents revealed more information about the scheme in Wisconsin, and 10 of those fake electors in the Badger State admitted as part of litigation in December that President Biden had won the state. So, yeah. Luckily, we have different sets of lawyers, so we can do both. All right, folks. Right to jail, right away. So this is a cool and very cool and neat thing that's happening. So apparently, because Biden couldn't get the absurd border bill passed, I think he, instead of taking the hint of the people who would ostensibly vote for him, instead he decided that he was going to take matters into his own hands. Biden prepares an order that would shut down asylum if a daily average of 2,500 migrants arrive, which basically guarantees that is going to be the case. Also, according to international law, asylum is not something that you can shut down. Anyways, the White House is telling lawmakers that President Biden is preparing to sign off an executive order that would shut down asylum requests at the U.S.-Mexico border once the average number of daily encounters hits 2,500 between ports of entry, with the border reopening only once the number declines to 1,500, according to several people familiar with the discussion. The impact of the 2,500 figure means that the executive order could go into immediate effect because the daily figures are higher than that now. The Democratic president is expected to unveil the actions, his most aggressive unilateral move yet to control the number of the border, on Tuesday at an event to which border mayors have been invited. 5 people familiar with the discussion on Monday confirmed the 2,500 figure, while 2 of the people confirmed the 1,500 number. The figures are daily averages over the course of a week. All of the people insisted on anonymity to discuss the executive order that is not yet public. I alone can fix it, Jack. I have a question. Does this look like somebody who wants to win the election? I'm confused. While the border activity such as trade is expected to continue, the 1,500 threshold at which the border would reopen for asylum seekers would be hard to reach. The last time the daily average dipped to 1,000 was in 1,500 encounters was in July of 2020, the height of the COVID pandemic. Senior White House officials, including Chief of Staff Jeff Zients and Legislative Affairs Director Schwanza Goff, have been informing lawmakers on Capitol Hill of the details of the planned order ahead of the formal rollout on Tuesday. But several questions remain about how the executive order would work, particularly how much cooperation the U.S. would need from Mexican officials to carry out the executive order. The president has been deliberating for months over how to act on his own after bipartisan legislation to clamp down on the asylum at the border collapsed because Republicans defected from the deal en masse at the urging of Donald Trump, the former president and presumptive Republican nominee. Biden continued to consider executive action, even though the number of illegal crossings at the southern border has declined for months, partly because of stepped-up effort by Mexico. Biden administration officials had waited until Mexico's presidential elections held Sunday to move on the U.S. president border actions. Mexico elected Claudia Sheinbaum, the nation's first female leader, and Biden said in a statement that he was committed to advancing the values and interests of both of our nations to the benefit of our people. The two spoke on the phone on Monday, although White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre declined to say whether they spoke about the pending order. We continue to look at all options on the table, she said. She told reporters traveling with Biden on Air Force One on Monday evening. The executive order will allow Biden to declare that he has pushed the boundaries of his own power after lawmakers, specifically congressional Republicans, killed off what have been the toughest border and asylum restriction in some time. This is not something that you need to be proud of. This is absurd. Biden's orders aimed at trying to head off any potential spike in border encounters that could happen later this year, closer to the election. Trump's campaign said in a statement that the order would not be effective, and if Biden truly wanted to shut down the border, he could do it with the swipe of the same pen. Trump, describing the illegal border crossing as an invasion, is trying to blame Biden for recent incidents of migrants being charged with violent crime, though many studies have shown that immigrants typically commit violent crimes at lower rates than those born in the U.S. For Biden's executive order, the White House is adopting some policy directly from the bipartisan Senate border deal, including the idea of limiting asylum requests once the encounters reach a certain number. The administration wants to encourage migrants to seek asylum at ports of entry by using U.S. Customs Border Protection's One app, which schedules about 1,450 appointments per day. The administration lawyers have been planning to tap executive powers outlined in Section 212F of Immigration and Nationality Act, which gives the president the broad authority to block entry of certain immigrants into the U.S. if it's deemed detrimental to the nation's national interest. It is the same legal rationale. That's not cool. I have a question. So what exactly would be the detriment of having to process, like, because it doesn't guarantee that you will get your asylum case approved. But the point being is that if you're an asylum seeker, you have the right to make your case. Explain to me how that would be detrimental to the national interest. Exactly. Like, what is the detriment here? Problematic. Yeah, problematic is the word I'm looking for. Exactly. It is the same legal rationale used by Trump to take some of his toughest actions on migration as president. Cool. That has advocacy groups already preparing to challenge Biden's immigration order in court. We will need to review the executive order before making final litigation decisions, said Lee Gallant, the attorney for the ACLU, who led several of the most high-profile challenges to Trump's border policies. But a policy that effectively shuts down asylum would raise clear legal problems, just as it did when the Trump administration tried to end asylum. The White House is also sure to encounter vocal resistance from many Democratic lawmakers. Senator Alex Padilla, an outspoken critic of the Senate's earlier border bill, said the pending executive order was just not the solution we need and is very incomplete as a strategy. Padilla, who was also briefed by the White House on the proposal, wants an approach that works with countries throughout Latin America to address poverty and unrest that drives migration to the U.S. In recent weeks, Padilla has also pressed the White House for executive action to benefit immigrants and said the message he has heard in return is, "We're working on it." Yeah, like, this dude knows exactly how this would work, right? Like, we have to work with the global, like, if you're actually serious about addressing immigration, like, you have to work with the global South, right? At the very least, acknowledge that we're the reason why people are driven to make that journey. People don't just pick up their stuff and travel thousands of miles to a country they've never been to. They don't just drop everything and go thousands of miles for no reason. The situation that drives people to do that is very serious and very real, and it's our fault. It's our fault. It's the United States foreign policy from decades that have had repercussions that are still seen till today. So yes, it is our responsibility to help and working and with the Latin American countries and giving them resources to address this, because we're the ones that caused it, would be fair. Biden will unveil his executive order, flanked by several border mayors whom the White House invited for the announcement. Texas mayors John Cohen of Brownsville, Ramiro Garza of Edinburgh both confirmed their invitations. San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria's office also said the White House invited the mayor, but he could not attend due to scheduling difficulties. Representative Henry Cuellar, a Texas Democrat who said he was briefed on the plan, said he wishes the White House could have taken executive action a long time ago, and said the cooperation from Mexico will continue to be critical as the administration implements the order. Man, I really don't care about this dude's opinion. Globus the Elder, welcome. If you think about the logistics, where else can they go? Cuellar said they're not going to let them in. Where do they go? Do they return them to Mexico, or do they try to deport as many as they can? We did a lot. We did add a lot more money into ICE, so they can deport. But the easiest thing, of course, is just to send them back to Mexico. You've got to help them. You've got to have the help of Mexico to make this work. Jennifer Babby, a attorney for Las Americas Immigrant Advocacy Center in El Paso, said she would be alarmed if Biden issued formal deportation orders without an opportunity to seek asylum. Advocates worry he may attempt that under the 212 provision. Pandemic-era expulsion authority known as Title 42 had a silver lining for migrants because they could try again without fearing legal consequences, Babby said. But a formal deportation order would expose them to felony prosecution if they attempted again and would impose bars on legally entering the country in the future. This is even more extreme than Title 42 while still putting people in harm's way. Man, phenomenal stuff coming out of the Biden administration, huh? Well, I'm sure we're going to review this tomorrow. If we get more details on this. Folks, it's just over 7 o'clock. I got to get going. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you all for your support. Thank you to the new follows. Thank you for your subscriptions, biddies, all that. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Don't forget, folks, if you enjoy the content, make sure you hit the follow button. It really does help us out. Folks, join the Discord. Okay, that's where you can interact with the community, and there are movie events that happen. So if you want to join the Discord, you can. If you want to keep supporting the channel, for those of you on YouTube, keep liking the stream. I see you guys. Thank you. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Consider checking out the merch store by hitting !merch. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Michael Hassler, thank you, Heat, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. As always, folks, thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for stopping by. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Late for the show, but just in time for the raid. That's right. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.